Hi, my name is Tori Pendleton. I want to welcome you to the Global Alzheimer's Platform Foundation update on the 2020 Citizen Scientist Award nomination process. Due to COVID-19 social distancing and shutdown orders that vary throughout North America, we have made adjustments to submission deadlines and some of the eligibility criteria in an effort to make participation more manageable during these uncertain times. During this short presentation, I will review the 2020 nomination criteria, the changes that were made to deadlines, and how release forms can be obtained, as well as the resources that are available to each site to help with the submission process. In 2019 CSA nominees who were nominated last year can be resubmitted, and all 2019 and 2020 CSA nominees must have participated in or acted as a study partner for someone in an Alzheimer's clinical research trial between January of 2017 and June 30th of 2020. Note this change time period now goes back 3 years to include more of your trial participants who've made an impact on Alzheimer's research. The 2020 nomination criteria: all nominees must either be a United States or Canadian citizen. All nominees must have been enrolled in or be the study partner to someone who was enrolled in an Alzheimer's disease clinical trial between January of 2017 and June 30th of 2020. And each individual submitted must sign a nominee acceptance and release form. These can be found on MyGap. However, these forms do not need to be signed in person like they were in 2019. If you are resubmitting a 2019 nominee, their 2019 waiver and their 2019 photo can be resubmitted for the 2020 time period. When submitting the 2019 CSA nominees, first use the email template that is provided on MyGap, or you can use your own email to confirm that your 2019 nominee is still interested in participating in 2020. You have two options. One option is to re-enter the 2019 nominees into Submittable, including their waiver and their photo yourselves, or someone in the office can do that. Or option number two, you can let us help. You can forward your affirmative response to CSA@globalausplatform.org, and someone from the CSA staff will re-enter all of your submittable information for each nominee that you get confirmation from. For submitting 2020 CSA nominees, GapNet sites can reach out to each 2020 nominee, explain the program to them, and gain permission to participate in CSA 2020. Each nominee must sign the CSA acceptance and release forms. This can be done electronically. They do not need to be signed in person in 2020. We want to encourage each CSA nominee to submit good quality photos, and GapNet sites are to use Submittable to enter nominee information for consideration. All 2019 resubmissions and new submissions for 2020 will be accepted through June 30th, 2020. It is important to know that Submittable, the nomination platform that we have chosen, is password protected and also HIPAA compliant for added security when submitting nominee information. You can access Submittable through the MyGap intranet or by going directly to the Gap CSA nomination page from the web link provided, gapfoundation.submittable.com/submit. Note, a nomination is considered complete when both the acceptance and release form or 2019 waiver and a photo have been uploaded to the Submittable nomination form. CSA and nomination resources. The first resource that we have provided for you is MyGap, which is the intranet access only for GapNet site staff. MyGap includes a program overview, nominee eligibility criteria, a document describing the nomination process, more tools to help you understand CSA. MyGap.globalausplatform.org platform.org. And then we also have our GAP website that has a CSA dedicated page. This gives you access to the public overview of citizen scientists, a gallery of citizen scientist spotlights from the 2019 nominees. We have great profiles of our 2019 honorees, and we also have the videos that highlight both the honorees and the GAPNet sites that they are from. That is at globalawsplatform.org/awards/. You also have the option of emailing at csa@globalawsplatform.org, or you can email me, Tori Pendleton, tpendleton@globalawsplatform.org, with any questions that you might have. And you also can email or contact or speak with your GPS liaison if you have any questions, and they will pass those questions along as we look for answers for you. And lastly, I do encourage you to follow us on Twitter to see highlight stories written about CSA nominees and to help us share your celebrations and the research that you have going on at your sites. Now we're going to go to a submittable demonstration. As you can see, we are on the submittable page. This is the GAP page that has our Citizen Scientist Awards on it. The Global Alls Platform Foundation has a site that you can go in and you can figure out what the categories are for each GAP Citizen Scientist Award. We have the Cornerstone Award. That is a clinical trial participant who personally makes extraordinary efforts to support local research and participates in a trial. We have the Champion Award, which is a clinical trial participant who fights for a cause, is an advocate for trial participation in the community. The Catalyst Award is the clinical trial participant who brings about or hastens a result through creative, new, and novel approaches to encourage clinical trial participation. And this year, we've introduced the Collaborator Award. This is a study partner who consistently supports a clinical trial participant and who promotes Alzheimer's clinical research involvement in the community. Again, these individuals could have been involved from January of 2017 to June 30th of 2020. Each GAP site can nominate up to 3 citizen scientists in each of the 4 award categories for a total number of 12 nominees per site. Once you have read that information and refamiliarized yourself with all of the categories, if you go down here to the GAP Citizen Scientist Awards 2020, and this date will change to June 30, 2020. If you hit submit, your page will change to the submission form. And as you can see, as you scroll down, it is a very simple form. Here I've filled in some of the answers already. You have the name of your nominee. You have an email and or a telephone number for that nominee. This will help us if that nominee is chosen, or if we want to do a story on that individual. This will help us to have their contact information. You go to the next category, and it's where you choose what award you want to enter that person in. I've chosen the Champion Award, so you just click on it. Once you do that, it comes up with the definition to remind you of what you're supposed to be highlighting when you're talking about this particular individual. The name of the nominator, that's whoever at your site is nominating this individual. This helps for those of us at GAP who are dealing with the CSA nominations. It helps us to know who to get a hold of. It also helps Rational 360 to know who the contact person at each site is. You have the area for the GAP site name, Please enter exactly what you want your gap site name to be throughout all of our documentation so that we have a clear understanding of how you want to be represented. We also have the phone number of the person nominating. And then the next thing that we start to come through is we start to come to the questions that we want answered about each individual. So has the individual participated or been a study partner in multiple Alzheimer's disease trials, yes or no? If so, how many? We ask a question about how many miles round trip they've traveled. For example, I am about 50 miles from the University of Virginia. So round trip, I'm 100 miles. Your next question is how many appointments, how many times do they have to come see you, how much involvement do they have? I said that there are 30 a year for me. How many outreach events has this person done? This is important because this helps us understand how involved in the community your people are, so that your nominees are, so that when we're highlighting them in our stories, we're able to tell what it is that they actually do and how much they do. Now, if they have not been a part of any outreach, that's okay. We just want to make sure that we know and we're giving the credit to the people who have. How many speaking roles? Some may have speaking roles, some may not. Some people speak locally at their churches, and some people actually speak to their state representatives. So we'd like to know how many of those that they've done. We have the question of how many interviews on an internal basis have they done, maybe for your newsletter, for the, if you're a university, for the university paper. And then the next one is external interviews. I wrote down that I'd done one for Newsweek and one for Time. This also could be radio interviews, television interviews, anything that they've done to spread the involvement that they have with Alzheimer's clinical research, anything that can highlight the work that we are all doing. Describe how the participants or study partners' efforts have been exemplary. This is, why did you nominate this person? Describe the impact that this participant or study partner has made in your community. You know, I wrote here, because of my participation in outreach, I have sent 40 people to have screens and 10 qualified for a trial, 5 actually participated. So this helps us to know how effective. This is where you give them the honor and the credit that's due. And then the last question that you have on this section is describe how you would summarize this participants or study partners' efforts. This is a great place for a quote from a staff member that knows this person well. If the staff member knows this person well and they can just give us an idea, what would you say about that individual? And then the next section is response from the nominee. This is where when you call the nominees, when you call the individual, or if this person has said something over and over and over about why they participate in clinical research, this is where you put that. This gives us the ability, when we do our spotlights of the nominees on social media or in earned media, this gives us the quote that we can use for them, and it's their own words and it's what research means to them. So the next thing you would do is to upload the signed release form for 2019. It would be the waiver that's signed. We asked for an upload of a photo. If possible, it would be really amazing to have good front-facing photos, maybe close-up, so that we can see that person. Candid photos are good as long as there are not that many people in the photo. We use these photos to create the spotlight cards so that we can highlight these individuals, and they're better if they're one person or 2 people maybe, but they're focused on that person. You can attach up to 3 of those photos if you would like. You have, I agree with the terms of use, and you have to check that box after you read the terms of use. And then with this, because I am not submitting a release form and a photo, I will save this draft. When you save your draft, that gives you the ability to go back in and upload your forms when you need to. You cannot submit the form until you have a signed release and a photo uploaded. So you can save a draft if you don't have your signed release and you don't have a photo to upload. You will have to have those two things to actually submit your nominee. These are important to us. The upload, the signed release and the waiver forms, those are very important because we have to have that to be able to do the media outreach and to be able to highlight these individuals. With that email template that we have provided or the email that you send, if that could be forwarded to the CSA at globalallsplatform.org, we will upload that for you, but we need to have the at least that in writing to say that yes, they want to participate. The 2019 people still want to participate. So I hope this has been very helpful. We tried to make this submittable form as easy and as fast moving as possible. And I hope that all of the changes that we have made in light of COVID-19 for 2020 will help everyone to be able to nominate at least one person, if not more, from their site for the Citizen Scientist Awards. Thank you very much, and I hope that you all have a nice day.